Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all the respected dignitaries, distinguished speakers, honorable participants, and the loving audience, all beautiful people present here from all around the globe. I, Ms. Nada Ratkovic, IIU co-founder of Europe, IIU board member, country director, Croatia, and the president of Research Center, IIU, welcome you all to the Blockchain Technology Summit to the day three organized by the UNIC International Internship University and IIU Research Center. Two amazing days learning and growing together by sharing knowledge and experience with IIU Research Center and our global eminent experts on the topic of current interest of blockchain technology. Blockchain facts, what is it, how it works, and how it can be used. Today, I want to thank to our great founder for this opportunity, for giving us this amazing IIU platform, IIU University, and IIU Research Center like a unique hub. It is giving an opportunity to the researchers, to authors, to educators, to students, to scholars across the globe to enhance research opportunities, academic excellence, real-world problem solving, and knowledge creation and dissemination. I want to thank to our great COO, Dr. Snikta Kadam, for this amazing organization and for helping to make this summit a grand success. Me, Professor Nadarat Coach, as a president of IIU Research Center, thinks if you have ever thought of how would be the world without education, research, science, innovation, technology, or any development or anything, then the IIU Research Center and IIU is the right place for you. Let's continue today acquiring the knowledge of blockchain technology. Our amazing educators will today inspire with new innovative ideas and they will set up quality education for the future generations. We know that IIU is for education. Education is on the first place and their educators can share the knowledge and experience around the world. We had these days Professor Dr. Queen Elizabeth. We have great Dr. Susan Samudrala, Herdiana Derinufika, Professor Arun Nara, our great lawyer from Peru, our Jorge Isaac Torres. Yesterday, Professor Kerudin Sudmarin, Thea Mefashili, teacher from Georgia. Today I have beautiful ladies and I will have also one gentleman with the ladies. And that gentleman today will say, I'm happy Nada because I adore Brazil and we have ladies from Brazil, from Peru, from India, from all around the globe. So let me start and call my first eminent expert. She is coming from Peru. She is Lucia Seminario Hurtado, researcher by heart, researcher level 7, registered in the Peruvian government's National Council of Science, Technology, and Technological Innovation. Lawyer, she has a master in university teaching and academic management, author of articles in the Scopus and book chapters. Currently, she is a grant holder of the National Council of Science and Technology for the Mexican government. She is from Peru, but now works for Mexico. And today she will enlighten us with a great topic, computer programs in Peruvian indigenous languages as a strategy to revitalize them. Welcome, Miss Lucia. IIU stage is for you now. We don't hear you, Lucia.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, great.
Great. All right, thank you very much. Good morning to everyone. Good night there in India. I am deeply honored to be here and to be a speaker in this long-term summit. Thank you very much to the International Internship University, and thank you to Professor Nara to organize this wonderful and magnificent academic event. So let's gonna start. I'm gonna share my screen.
Yes, you can.
Can you see my screen?
It is coming. Yes, yes, we see.
So let's go to talk about computer programs improving indigenous language as a strategy to revitalize them.
Lucia, we don't. Can you come closer to the mic because we don't understand what you're saying?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
I think it's some trouble. I'm really sorry. But all right. So I just try to introduce. I just start my presentation. I'm gonna talk about main definition of indigenous people and language, linguistic and cultural diversity in Peru, indigenous language and internet, strategy, conclusion, and reference. All right? Can you hear me now very well? Because I had some trouble before. It's everything.
Yes. And you can move your mouse from the sound because we see it on the presentation. Okay, great, great. My dear Lucia, we really have technical problems, but that is a reality. We don't hear you again.
Can you hear me now?
When
I'm
you
sorry.
say,
Can you hear
yeah, yes, please continue. Please continue.
I'm really sorry. I have some troubles. I just closed my camera. So, all right. So I'm gonna read this phrase, and it's in Quechua language, which is Mananguran Fiyapi Rimaiti Kuja Ancha Kasuakuchu Castellano Rimataja Chaja Uyaringu Pacha Chaimi Nuhaiku Skynin Sipitapune Waiku Yachanamanta Munaiko, which means in English, they don't pay attention to us when we speak Quechua. When they speak Spanish, they listen to them immediately. That's why we want our children to learn both language. I want to start my presentation and trying to introduce this indigenous language, which are important nowadays because are part of our culture and are part of the world. So let's start. All right. So the first chapter, its main definition is indigenous people and language. I need to emphasize and point out that there is not a main definition or exactly definition of what means indigenous people. But Professor Anaya from the University of Arizona, he wrote a book which is titled International Indigenous Language and International Indigenous People and International Law as well. And he brought a main definition of what is indigenous people. And he explained that indigenous people are living on their lands before the colonizer from elsewhere come, and despite the time passed, they have persevered their cultural, economic, and political characters. What does this mean? Means that in the year of 1492, which is the year that colonizers arrived on America and discovered this beautiful place, there were people that they live in this land, in this ground, and these people are called indigenous people. But despite having this problem and they conquered this part of the ground, of the land, and despite indigenous people were forced to introduce to another type of activities and life, and as well they were forced to forget their mother tongue, they will continue to develop in their own cultural, economic, and political characters. So the Professor James Anaya points out that which are manifested indigenous people different from those of other sector of the world population. However, I need to point out that there is an international treatment which is called Indigenous and Tribal People Convention, which is the main treatment nowadays that protect and regulate indigenous people's rights. In the first article, established elements to identify who are indigenous people. And they present four elements. The first one is there are people prior to the state and have historical continuity. The second is their ancestors inhabited the same place. The third one is they have their own cultural, linguistic, social, and economic institution. And the last one is they have self-awareness as an indigenous community. So those four elements are important to identify who is a person who are involved in indigenous community. So this first article, we try to interpret this first article of this Indigenous and Tribal People Convention express two kind of criteria. The first one is objective criteria, which is historical continuity, territorial connection, and distinctive institution. And the second one is subjective criteria, which is self-identification. All right. So according to international human rights law, there is not meaning of indigenous community, indigenous people, but academic people some treatment, for example, try to explain what are the main slide. We're going to talk about indigenous language, which is the main topic of this presentation. Because have a lot changed are translated in indigenous language, which is very important. And so what type of we need to emphasize that there are three main way of communication with indigenous community. As well, I can say that it's a way of life. So indigenous community, it's the mother tongue of indigenous people, and it's a kind of way for communication and identity that they have with this indigenous language. Okay.
Dear Lucia, can you please try to come closer? Again, little problems, please. Mm-hmm. I think that we lost our great Lucia from Peru. Technical issues today. I think that all around the globe are problems with the internet. This morning on the conference, Nigeria now also. But that will not encourage us. We have an amazing summit. Here our Lucia comes back, our beautiful lady from Peru.
I'm really sorry.
I no problem. Great.
Right.
Yes.
Because my eyes have some problems, but let's continue talking about the greatest variety of the indigenous people in Peru. As Charles explained, Peru has one of the variety of culture indigenous people. The first country is Brazil, around over the world. I'm sorry, around. So, for example, another Peru. So in Peru, we have five indigenous people according to the official database Ministry of Culture of Peru. And it's also mentioned that 5,184,708 people, which is 26%, self-identify as a member of indigenous or native people, which means that in Lima, that is the capital city of Peru, we have a lot of people, each hardest of indigenous community. All right, this is something interesting because Lima it's not a community or is not a rural place. It's a capital city. But because the indigenous community just try to decide to left their own houses and lands and to look for another kind of opportunity. So they moved to the capital city. So according to this census that recognize this special identification. So in Lima, the capital city, we have the greatest variety of indigenous people. There is another point that the second department, which have the largest indigenous population, it's Puno. Puno is located here, pretty close to Bolivia. They have 857,469 people that represent 40.3%, according to the last census of Peru. So we were talking about we have 55 indigenous people, but the main concentration is situated in Lima, right? So before talking about, I took some screen to so for footage. For example, here we have a Quichua community, which is situated in the Andes. And here we have our Hun community, which is situated in Amazonian part of Peru. Okay, so talking about indigenous language, and we have currently 48 indigenous language, 44 in the Amazonian and 4 in India. 23 languages are predominated according of the ethno-linguistic map of the Peruvian Ministry of Culture. The most widely spoken indigenous language are Quechua, for example, Aymara, Xaninca, Wahum, Shipibo, Kunibo. Quechua and Aymara are languages that are spoken um, in the Andes, Andean, and the Wahum, Shipibo, Kunibo, Shawi are language that people speak in Amazonian, right? So we talked that there are 48 indigenous languages, and the main language is Quechua. But there are languages that are dying out, unfortunately. For example, there is Taushiro. We have one speaker. It's unfortunately it's something that I need to mention, but just we have one speaker, and this language it's almost died out. We have another one that is Resigaro, Omawa, Muniche, and Yapari. Okay, those languages are the most endangered. And Loreto, which is located in Amazonia, it's a department which has the highest number of indigenous languages, it's a total of 29. All right, let's talk about our topic, which is indigenous language internet, and we're gonna talk about what is indigenous language, what is involved with internet technology, and we're gonna discuss what kind of strategies have developed Peruvian governments to protect this language in internet. It becomes, it mutates, it's very interesting. So when I talk about internet and indigenous language, I need to emphasize that there are some authors and some academics that explain that internet it's important, website, this kind of technology because of globalization, of course. And it is of paramount importance that these resources should be available to everyone. Not people who speak English, not people who speak Spanish, everyone. Everyone means all people around the world, which includes minorities, linguistic people. Okay, so first of all, Crystal says that web is an electric medium that it seems also it is multilinguistic and inclusiveness. So this author explains that it's pretty important that this information should be offered in a language because it's important that development of technology everyone should have access to this. A second author, this Daniel and Herring, explained that low linguistic diversity potential facilities internet access, of course, but as well explained that various countries would have their linguistic diversity will need potentially expensive customized solution for a large number of minority language groups. And this author points out that it's important that people, especially minorities language groups, which are indigenous people should have access to this important information. And Garcia and Nere explained that the language has a window of development possibilities on internet. So indigenous language were learning for people in an oral way. However, according to there were a lot of academic and linguistic people that decide to change or to implement as well. Not only indigenous language should be oral, but also should be written. So people who were involved in planning linguistic public policies, those kind of areas and matters, they decide to include those dictionaries, grammatic, orthographic to indigenous language. So nowadays, indigenous language are spoken by people, but as well people need to write because it's a kind of a strategy to revitalize this language. That's why internet has this the main idea because internet can help to potential and to boost this idea that indigenous language should be written. Okay, so internet and indigenous language has a window of developing these possibilities on the internet, both which is oral and written. All right, so here we have some photos of those are communities from Andes and Amazonian. For example, here we have another photo. This is the shape of the territory of Peru. Uh, yes. Let's talk about strategies. What's happening with blockchain at Bitcoin? Because in Peru, they are translated in indigenous language. So I know I have read some documentations and papers and some articles as well that explain that some Bitcoin texts are converted to native language of the digital people. So we know that, for example, this cryptography and Bitcoins, that it's a practice that consists of protecting information, for example, to use encryption algorithms, hashes, and signatures. But it's important that indigenous people should know what is the content, for example, of this, should know as well what is the content, for example, of the management of the contracts or the guarantees deposit or identifications that should be applied, should be signed using this cryptography or using this Bitcoin, as well as blockchain that can be used to digitally sign and any type of sensitive information. Indigenous people should know, of course, because they are involved as well in technology and they live in a land, in a ground that is part of the territory that as well they use this kind of strategies like the blockchain and Bitcoins and cryptography. So it is of paramount importance if they should be included because these strategies, these new technologies that are involved to everyone should be involved as well to indigenous community. They cannot be discriminated to speak another language. So Peru, of course, they speak Spanish, but as well we speak 48 indigenous languages that are recognized in the Constitution in Article 48 and Article 2. So according to this Constitution that is the last one from 1993, that recognizes this indigenous language, Peru is a multicultural state, which means to protect the right to everyone to speak and to use their own language, their mother tongue, which means that everyone should have access to blockchain, cryptography, coins, and this kind of technology in their own language. That is very important because I know that these topics are just used, but they were developed in just in some language like English, Spanish, that are the main language around over the world. But indigenous community should know what is this because they live in a ground, they live in a land, and they need to know and develop of course these kind of strategies as well. So, for example, I know that there are some this can be translated, for example, can be play of the management of constant guaranteed deposit, identifications, and are translated both of them in indigenous language. The second slide, Microsoft and Microsoft 11 and Office as well is this is just recently, it was last year on November, Peru with the Ministry of Culture and Microsoft designed Microsoft 11 and Office in Quechua language. This is important because nowadays indigenous people that speak Quechua can have access to Windows and Office in their mother tongue. All right. So the third one is Uyari application. Uyari application. This application Uyaray means in Quechua listen, and has been developed by the Ministry of Culture in coordination to the National Register of Identification and Civil Status, which is RENIEC in Peru. And this application was officially presented 2 years ago. This application is a computer tool that uses phrases and searching vocabulary by registers when providing notification and civil registration service in Spanish and Quechua. So this application had to these people who works in this register of notification of national civil status to provide information in the indigenous language. And of course, they have this application as well to develop and learn new words, to provide assistance and provide public assistance to people who speak this language. So they're providing to Quechua speaking Peruvian citizens this is something interesting. There is another one application which is Aula Quechua, and it's an application created for the Commission for the Promotion of Peru for Exports and Tourists, which is called ProPeru. And this application was launched in 2013. It has almost like 10 years. In this application, for example, people can learn new words, expression, idiomatic expressions, idioms in Quechua. And this is important because they can increase the vocabulary, but as well, they can learn this great variety in Quechua because Quechua has a little variety like Quechua Chang and Quechua Goyal. But the main thing that here it's like a kind of application to learn, but in entertaining way and didactic. So they have photos, and they have games, so it's very, very interesting. We have another one, Mosaic browser translation in indigenous language of Peru as well. It was translated in Quechua in 2016. So people who speak Quechua, which is the main language in Peru, there it's the first indigenous language that is speaking for people, and they have access to this internet and this mosaic browse, and they cannot navigate to they can navigate to a website, like for example in mosaic browse, and they can look for the information in their mother tongue. And the last one to finish, we have virtual dictionaries. This project was created in 2016 by the Ministry of Culture as well, with the goal of developing semi-bilingual dictionaries. So, for example, it was published a dictionary of Gene language and another one Wichiteri. And we have another one before because this project was a really great initiative. And as well as people who speak those indigenous language have and contribute to this project. So to conclude, we can say that Peru has one of the greatest majority around South America. We have 55 indigenous people that speak 48 indigenous language, which are protected in the Constitution in Article 48, but also in the International Convention of Indigenous People from the United Nations. Important of indigenous people, of course, indigenous language are important since it's an important element to develop their own cultures, habits, uses in a land. So if indigenous people don't speak their own language, we can imagine, or we can destroy as well their own kind of planification of their life. So it is important to recognize that indigenous language are essential and primary to indigenous community as a part of their identity. And the last one, developing strategies in the computer progress and internet and well in this main topic that it's blockchain, points, and a cryptography, of course. As I mentioned before, everyone has the right to speak their own language because as well it's a human right. So everyone should uh, speak and use this kind of technology and have access with an intercultural approach, of course, to these new technologies because world is changing constantly. So they have new programs, new strategies, new technological gadgets. So it's important that indigenous people should have access to these new computer programs and internet as well, because they need to revitalize their own language, but as well, they need to promote their own language using those tools. So this is what I want to say. I'm really sorry for my internet. I got disconnected before my internet is down. That's just wanted to do the best. And thank you very much for your attention. If there is any kind of question, I am able to answer. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, dear Nusia. It was amazing. A new approach. This is something that we from other fields don't think, don't know. And you explain us, and we really learn how this indigenous languages making a strategy, revitalizing them with the computer programs and with the blockchain. Great. And I was thinking the whole time, it is a big challenge. I think that working like a grant holder in the National Council of Science and Technology. That is why, please open your camera. Now you are not talking. We want to see you. Our audience want to see you. Our beautiful woman scientist. Thank you. Thank you. Listen, if we have questions, we will see them. Our audience here, really, I see that they're sending hearts, things, great. So, this is today. I can say that the first 2 days we didn't listen, and you are really today very special and unique. Thank you. Thank you so much. And I hope that you will join us very soon in another session because we will have a lot. Every day we have something. So in March, we're planning the World Digital Day. So I'm already inviting you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Now I'm moving to our next eminent speaker, our next expert. She is also a lady. She's coming from Brazil. She's Professor Priscila Sanapero. She's a professor of the postgrad program in governance, technology, and innovation from the Universidade Católica de Brasília. She has a PhD in international law, and she's a professor of the postgraduate program in law at Umbra University, coordinator of the International Law Clinic, professor of law and international relationships, former professor of the Federal University, member of Brazilian Academy of International Law, member of International Law Commission, member of the Researcher of Red Dirica America, member of Libero-American Association of Law, Culture, Environment, delegate to the World Trade Organization, great, and to the Economic and Social Council, United Nations, author of books and international lawyer. And today she will enlighten us with the topic combating trafficking with blockchain analysis. Welcome, dear Priscilla Saneparo. Enlighten us with your speech. And I need to say that this amazing lady has a small baby and she's working 24 hours. So I want first a big clap for her. Welcome.
Thank you so much. I want to say hi, and I want to say it's a very pleasure to be here to speak about a very relevant topic about human trafficking and blockchain. Thank you for your comprehension about my little baby, but it's an honor to be here. So I'm gonna point out that my presentation is in Portuguese, but I'm gonna speak in English, of course, and then I will translate as I'm gonna say the topics. I don't think there will be a problem because the most
No
important.
problem, no problem.
Okay, because the most important is the main topics and the pictures. So I'm gonna speak in English, and then it won't be a problem. So
No,
my
no.
topic here is human trafficking as a higher violator of human rights, and then I'm gonna point out about blockchain. So I'm gonna turn off my camera if I can find it. Yes. And then I'm gonna start now about my topic. The first point that we have to know about this presentation is what is human traffic specifically? When we think about human trafficking, we have to know that human trafficking is a series of crimes and serious violations of human rights. So it's linked between human rights and specifically blockchain to evade effectively the human trafficking, to combat effectively the human trafficking as a series of violating of human rights. Almost every country in the world is affected by human trafficking. There is a convention to work with this issue, specifically the Convention Against Transnational Organized Crime, implemented by its additional protocol on the prevention, suppression, and punishment of trafficking in persons, specifically human and children. It is called Palermo Protocol from 2003. And then we say the point two, specifically, what is the goals specifically of the Palermo Protocol to be substantial acting as a human trafficking? So we have to see that the goals of Palermo Protocol is prevent, protect, and promote cooperation between states. And we just have to promote cooperation between states if we have the communication of blockchain. We don't have the main points of cooperation nowadays because blockchain, specifically for the numbers of human trafficking, isn't being doing correctly by the states. And this is a big problem. It is a huge problem that we don't have means to implement the Palermo Protocol. So we have to think outside the box about using blockchain in this point. Second, what is human trafficking as an act? We want to know what is human trafficking by the Palermo Protocol. So the Palermo Protocol say human trafficking is one of the acts. First, recruitment. Recruitment is when someone aboarding the other one to go to a job outside the country, in foreign country, to make a beloved meeting, a date meeting. This is recruitment. The second act that is conception of human trafficking by the Palermo Protocol is transport. So you don't have to be the recruitment to be the human trafficker. You just have to transport the victim, then you be the human trafficker. The third, transfer from one country to another country, it is being considered also human trafficking. Accommodation, or effectively, specifically making by when we have a person from like Brazil accommodated in Paraguay by the person or by other person, by third person that is not involved in recruitment, transport, and transfer. This is very important because you don't have to be the person to recruited, who transport and who transfer to be the human trafficker. You just have to accommodation this person that you being specifically named as a human trafficker. And then we have the third point, that is the mean. Effectively, how is being seen the human trafficking. We have, first of all, resorting to the threat of or use of force, first of all. Second, we have coercion to be characterized as human trafficking. Third, we have abduction. Fourth, we have fraud. Five, we have abuse of power or vulnerability. In the last one, guarantee of payments or benefits. This point, I want to make it clear that the person should know in this point that she's been or he's been a product of traffickers. Because when we have the guarantee of payments and or benefits, we know that we are going to be trafficking. And the consentment, it is not important for the Palermo Protocol. So we have to think, even though I know I've been a product of trafficking, it is not important to condemn, to have a responsibility for these persons specifically who is doing the recruitment, the transport, the transfer, and the accommodation. This is very important. These persons hold the accountability for the human trafficking, even though I know that I've been trafficking. And the last one, the point fourth, it is the purpose specifically. Why I've been trafficking. First, for prostitution or sexual exploitation. It is the most widespread mean, specifically for human trafficking, prostitution, and sexual exploitation, labor service. This means this reason of human trafficking is very common in Middle East, specifically for the oil industry. And then we have slavery or similar practice. Slavery, we have here in Brazil, also known as internal human trafficking, because some people from the rural areas come to urban areas specifically to be exploitation, to be slavery, to be human trafficking. And we have some Bolivian in Brazil also being human trafficker by human traffickers, slavery. Then we have servitude or removal of organs. When we say about removal of organs, in this point I have some point outs. When we say about removal of organs, blockchain is very important. First of all, because we have most of human trafficking for removal of organs in dark web and even in deep web. So we don't have numbers. We don't have enough means to gain the information. So if we have a system, integration system for the cooperation of states, even though that we have in dark web and deep web, we can penetrate the real means for removal of organs, and then we can think about means, paths to convey effectively the don't have means to find out the real reality as the removal of organs. So we need the technology of blockchain. And also, according to Statista, by August of 2019, 93% of universe of 179 states had developed legislation that combats most and or all forms of human trafficking, but we don't have, once again, we don't have enough numbers. It is important to highlight that consent in human trafficking becomes irrelevant in any of the situations that some of the means described are configured. Furthermore, a child may not consent under any circumstances. So this is the main point, once again, about the question, what is human trafficking? So the second point that I'm gonna talk about, it is, what are the fighting measures provided for in the Palermo Protocol? So I'm gonna say about the Palermo Protocol as we see in this PowerPoint, in this sharing media, effectively. First of all, it must be noted that each state is sovereign in direction its policies to combat human trafficking. Once again, if we have cooperation between states using blockchain, we don't have to think about combat effectively human trafficking as an individual way, because as an individual way, we don't have enough results. So, nevertheless, it is observed that the present protocol encourages cooperation among them, aiming to, first, exchange of information and training. Information exchange reinforce the training of agents of the competent service. If we have the necessity of information exchange, and if we don't have information, we have to find out means, we have to find out paths to enlighten this information, and blockchain can be one of them. Second, specifically that the protocols say to the states to do measures at the borders, reinforce the necessary border controls to prevent and detect human trafficking. Once we have numbers, once we have information, these measures at the borders will be much easier. Specifically, one example we have here in Brazil, I'm speaking from south of Brazil, specifically next to the border from Paraguay. We don't have any fiscalization. We don't have any measures at the borders in Paraguay and even in Brazil to combat the human trafficking. We don't have officers. We don't have like computers to know the dates, to know specifically the information, to use specifically the technology of blockchain. This has to change if we want to end the human trafficking. And then the last one, measure provided by the Palermo Protocol is adequacy to the refugee statute, consolidate the principle of no refoulement. So we must know that the victim is not a refugee, but the victim must be treated as a refugee. This is very important. This is not very well known. So we have to talk about, specifically in these forums, where we have most people knowing about refugees, most people knowing about the importance of protecting the victim of human trafficking. This is very important. And also, we have what are the most identifiable forms of human trafficking. As I said before, sexual exploitation is the most common form, identifying 79% of human trafficking, followed by forced labor, 18%. Indeed, the exploitation of humans tends to be visible in urban centers along the roadsides. I think everyone in here has seen this before. In Brazil, we have a very huge problem that is called sexual tourism. And most of them is feeding by the human trafficking from the girls who are recruitments in the rural areas and come to urban areas with the promise of better life, and then they become human trafficking, specifically for sexual exploitation. This is a very huge problem in Brazil. But we have to think it is considered that some other forms of human trafficking are perhaps being underreported. First of all, domestic servitude, forced marriage, organ removal, as I said before, exploitation of children in beginning, sex trade, and war, as exchange of war prisoners for specifically exploitation, specifically service workers, and it is being considered human trafficking. And then we ask the second point, what are the types of industries involved in human trafficking? The majority of trafficking forced labors affects people working in, first, informal economy with irregular jobs or in situation of migration. That's why the human trafficking must be considered as a protection included in refugee statute. And then the most frequently documented sectors are agriculture or horticulture, construction, clothing and textiles, food, restaurants, domestic work, and of course, the sex industry. Human trafficking also affects other very important economic sectors, food processing, health, cleaning, and public sector provision of health service. And then what are the biggest challenges facing the battle against human trafficking? First of all, the search for precise information, which makes it possible to glimpse the true face of the phenomenon. That's why we really need to use blockchain. Second challenge, sometimes human trafficking is just one activity in an extensive and sophisticated international criminal network. So we have to find ways, we have to find paths to know all the web that is involved specifically without the technology of blockchain. And third biggest challenge, states should give top priority and focus to the crime of international human trafficking. So here, this point, it won't be necessary to talking deep about it, because it will be another topic. It is very important, of course, because we said that human trafficking must be considered as a crime against humanity. So the people who is involved in human trafficking should be considered to have their accountability in international criminal court. But we don't have time in this moment to talk about it. So we have to understand that is one of the biggest challenges of human trafficking, specifically provided by the Palermo Protocol. And the two last ones are consideration needs to be given to the type of action that can be used to raise awareness of human trafficking and take action to prevent trafficking at its source. So if we don't have information, we don't have ways effectively to act to prevent trafficking. That's the importance of blockchain. And the last one, another major challenge is to ensure that states will ratify and, in fact, implement the Palermo Protocol. And this way, we have to know that there must be a more holistic approach and partnership in tracking the problem. First, government agencies, no government organizations, international organizations, community collectives, etc., etc., etc. I must say that blockchain can change the face of human trafficking that we have nowadays. But we have to be aware that this isn't going to be easy because most states don't have the technology and also don't have the path to implement this blockchain as a way to combat the human trafficking. But I have hope, and I hope that we can discuss this and other opportunities. So thank you once again for having me in this important event, and I'm very glad to talk about it. Thank you.
A big clap to an amazing Priscilla. You really, what to say? Yes, another time we will talk more about this very important topic. This very important topic, and what to say? I will say that blockchain can really human trafficking is very complex, as you say, as you explain us with for Palermo, for the X, for everything. I can say it is a heartbreaking problem. So blockchain will help us, and we have so many roots of this problem because technology is solving some problems. But if we need to understand better, we need to know the law, how you explain us. This is for me the first time that I'm listening this. I think Dr. Kalpana and all our audience that we today have so many new knowledge, so many new information. I want to thank you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. Great Brazil, great Peru before, an amazing woman science. Thank you for joining us. And yes, there will be more opportunities. And I'm really happy that you and our great Nusia enlighten us today with this topics. This is really new topics for us. Thank you. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you for your comprehension. Thank you.
Thank you. Now from Brazil, we are moving to India. We are moving to India, and we have a research supervisor. She is our great Dr. Kalpana Dixit. Now, she is certified counselor at ICF accredited. She is an expert. She works for different universities. She has a rich education, research management, teacher education, 25 years of experience in teaching, training, and research at different capacity. She's a lecturer, professor, principal. So Dr. Kalpana is really multitasking, and she's a multidisciplinary researcher. She has so many awards. She makes researcher guides. She was a best principal, best professor, best academician, lifetime achievement award, influencer, trainer, speaker, ambassador. So great, Dr. Kalpana. We can talk about you also whole day. Present position, professor, and now research supervisor. So if you need professor, our great Dr. Kalpana, will help you in each moment. Today, her topic is application of blockchain in education. Welcome, great Dr. Kalpana. Unmute yourself, please. Unmute yourself. We don't hear you, Dr. Kalpana. Unmute yourself.
Yeah. Okay.
Great, great.
Now
Welcome.
I'm audible. No?
Yes.
Yes. Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Professor Nada, for such a wonderful and brief introduction of mine. Thank you, Team IIU, for inviting me for this wonderful conference. Actually, blockchain is a data storage capacity, a new technology that is the fourth world's revolution, industrial revolution. And we know all that blockchain is now presently everywhere in health, in medicine, in science, in technology, even in education also. Some people are doing new innovation and practices in blockchain. So today I would like to highlight my presentation on the application of blockchain in education, its impact and challenges. Really, in the field of education, the limitation of blockchain is there, but I am hopeful and people, those who are doing innovation are practical and they are very much persuasive about this and positive about this. They know that blockchain technology will definitely spread the education industry to the globe in a new industrial revolution. So, Professor Nada, can I share my screen, please?
Yes. Yes, you can. You can.
Yeah, here I am sharing my screen. This is my screen. Is this visible to you all?
Yes, yes. If you can put a full screen, it will be good. Can you try?
Okay. So hereby I am presenting my paper on application of blockchain in education, its impact and challenges. This is our International Blockchain Summit 3 by International Internship University, IIU. Actually, education is one of the top industry that is expanding and growing and yet facing challenges due to inefficiency of the traditional education system. But we are sure that blockchain technology tackle all these challenges by storing and providing universal easy access to credential on a decentralized ledger. This is the one most important feature of any blockchain technology, that it is decentralized always. Here, this is my own definition of blockchain, because blockchain is a technical field and blockchain is actually started in a Bitcoin in the form of Bitcoin currency. But nowadays, when we educators are using blockchain, so we have defined blockchain as blockchain is a new way of thinking about how we organize and utilize student and even faculty data online, providing them with a sense of ownership and immutability, and it just may take over the way we store education data in the future. So this is the definition of blockchain in the field of education. There are four major characteristics. Actually, this conference is being operating since 2 days. I know this is the fundamental of blockchain. This blockchain has four major characteristics. They are decentralization, transparency, immutability, neutrality, and open access. So if we go forward, there are mainly four types of blockchains available. These are public blockchain, private blockchain, consortium blockchain, and hybrid blockchain. I would like to say one more thing, that if we talk about the importance of blockchain in education, we can say as education becomes more diversified, democratized, decentralized, and intermediated, we will need to maintain reputation, trust in certification, and proof of learning. This is very much important. The increased focus on relevance and employability may also push us in this direction, as we also need more transparency in the education industry. And blockchain could provide just such a system, a massive open online secure database. So it is very much supportive to each and every education industry, whether it is college education system or school education system. It is also workable everywhere. This is a diagram of blockchain in education. 8 use cases of blockchain in education. They are: first, we have to maintain the student record. Then, we have to maintain and generate transcript. We can provide badges. We can store large storage of files. We can automate learning platform. This is learning management system through the help of blockchain technology. And memorable relationship we can create between teacher taught, between teacher and administrator. Publishing and copywriting protection. And we should also generate payment gateway in education industry through this blockchain technology. So this is very much important and useful. Enhance and transparent record keeping. The most important aspect of a blockchain technology is it's using the immutable blockchain storage. The school's office of the registrar need to create a student record always, everywhere, anytime. So after that, it becomes accessible to all the participants of the educational system and can even be shared between the institution also. Blockchain system can be used to supervise and facilitate accreditation of schools, colleges, and universities, protect intellectual property rights, and eliminate the falsification of diploma and transcript. So you can find how important the blockchain technology in present educational industries. Then it can also maintain student accountability powered by smart contracts. How? Blockchain smart contracts can be used by teachers to enter into digital agreements with students regarding the completion of their tasks. All of these assignments requirements, including the instructions condition, due date, and deadlines, are spelled out in the agreement in the form of data, in the form of small blocks. And after a student complete meeting all the terms of agreement, they can be automatically granted access to the next part of the course or receive credit and completion certificate. How effective this technology is. And it is also play an important role in providing individualized learning with a conventional classroom setup, and also create the motivational element that is missing in the traditional classroom system, because it is also based on some gamification technology. All the learning management system associated with blockchain platforms are supported with many learning and gamification technologies. Then this is the next incentivizing students and teachers to achieve great results. Everyone wants incentive for their task, for their motivation. So what type of incentive the blockchain smart laser will provide you? Cryptocurrency and tokenized credits can be used to create efficient reward system to motivate students and encourage teachers to contribute to the educational process by creating new learning material, and participating in research. Blockchain technology can take full advantage of the gamification elements in modern education and take it to the next level of globalization. Tokenizing credits can be used to pay off students' loan, purchase school supplies, learning materials, and cover all the educational expenses. Introducing verifiable lifetime student transcript. How? We all have gone through the troubles of obtaining transcripts from educational institutes because they have to search all the past records and they will do it. This will take lot of time and energy. So it is very time consuming process involving multiple parties to verify the credentials and compile the full academic record of an individual learner. It is also provide a student with an online digital transcript available to them anytime they need it. So it is very much supportive to education administrators, and it is very much fruitful to provide the authentic data of individual learners. It is also providing an educational achievement portfolio. How? An educational blockchain platform can allow students to create their own digital and testing scores at extra. Advantages of blockchain in education. What is the advantages? Since it is a immutable laser technology, so this is very much ideal for storing academic data and record. It is beneficial to education by increasing transparency, improving accountability through smart contracts, and incentivizing learning. For instance, blockchain immutable laser technology create a chronological list of events that in real time. This is useful for verifying all the documents, transcript, diploma, and test scores. So it can give support to in education industry for their trustworthiness and their truthfulness. This is also supporting to educational administrators and also learners to prove their credentials on an online platform also. And academic institutions are also able to provide incentive to students to pay their loan, and the gamification aspect of education created by tokenization has been tremendously beneficial. Students get motivation because they got reward. That is why they are motivated. Challenges. Of course, this is a very much of supportive, efficient, and advanced and secure technology. Still, in education industries, there are some challenges because we are still following the traditional system of teaching and learning, where we are rarely accept the technology. Even we require a lot of training program for our teachers, our educators, our learners, so that they can be accommodated in this advanced technology. So, what are the challenges? Integration with legacy system. Institutions face when moving away from their legacy software solution. In most cases, if they decide to use blockchain, organizations are required to completely restructure their previous system or design a way to successfully integrate the two technologies. So, it is a drawback because people are not accepting blockchain as their supporting technology. This will take time, but this will happen surely. Blockchain's scalability, the technical scalability of the network, which can put a strain on the adoption process, especially for public blockchain. So, scalability is also very much important for any industry to grow in education field also. If the blockchain technology will be become simpler through new innovative researches, then definitely the industry will adopt will with full heart. And blockchain has an environmental cost. How? Because this is a very, very energy consuming technology, very much high level of energy consumption are there. And finally, but not least, important that huge energy consumption is another blockchain adoption challenge. The majority of blockchain present in the market consume a high amount of energy. So if we save energy through some innovative practices, then definitely this technology can be very much supportive and adoptable in education industries also. And there are lack of blockchain developers. Only few people, only certain platforms, they are giving this type of facilities to the industry. This is also a hurdle and a challenge. I would like to show you top blockchain education companies, those who are providing this blockchain platform. These are Bit Degree, Disciplina, Richmond, API, BlockSearch, Glimfish, Udemy, and Sony Global Education. What they are doing? Bit Degree combined blockchain laser and tokenization on its tech-focused online education platform. It is a big company and also incentivize learning by offering token and scholarship for successful course completion or certain achievement. The other company is Disciplina. What Disciplina is doing? Disciplina platform use blockchain to maintain a unified register of academic achievements and qualifications for universities. And university can use those scores to determine individualized learning plans based on what the student has or hasn't learned. This is also very much supportive technology and supporting platform. Parchment offer digital credential service to students, academic institutions, and employers. API is a CV builder to showcase verified educational merits to employers, and it combines blockchain, smart contract, and machine learning to verify the academic credential of prospective students and professors itself. Then BlockSearch. BlockSearch is an educational credential management. What it do? It is an open standard platform created for storage and verification of digital certification, including academic transcripts and credentials. Sony Global Education. You all are aware about that. This is a digital transcript management system, and it is a partnership with IBM develop a blockchain platform to enable multiple institutions to add individual academic achievements and other pertinent student information on a ledger in order to maintain irrefutable records on students who have transferred or further their education. Udemy, it produces education products and service at marketplace. Then blockchain education network. It is a network, is a cohort of students and alumni of all over the world focused on blockchain and cryptocurrency. This is developed by the students of MIT. Then this is the end of my presentation, and I would like to say that if you see the last slide of my presentation, you find there is no value of education industry in concern of blockchain technology application. and adoption. It means we are using blockchain technology indirectly through some gamification technology or through some learning management system. But directly educational industry and institutions are not accepting, not adopting because of some challenges are there. So we need 100% blockchain technology in education industry also. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone.
Thank you. Thank you. Great, Dr. Kalpana. Thank you for your amazing presentation, for your great speech. I want a big clap our audience because our Dr. Kalpana is a researcher, an amazing researcher, not only in India, around the globe, she is known. I want to say that today Dr. Kalpana was talking about the impact and challenges of blockchain in the education. So, what is why blockchain is important for education? She explained us, she showed us through the figures how use cases of blockchain in education. She enhanced us and transparent with the record keeping, with student accountability powered by the smart contracts, because blockchain smart contracts can be used by teachers to enter the digital agreements. She explained us how to achieve greater results with the cryptocurrency, with blockchain technology, with credits, with tokenized credits, introducing the verifiable lifetime student transcripts. Bit degree. I hear this, Dr. Kalpana, for you, how Bit degree combines blockchain with the ledgers and with tokenization, you say, focusing on the education platform, APPH, the Civ Builder, the Blockseer, the Sunny Global Educations, and how is working the blockchain education network. And as you say, need 100% in education industry because we cannot replace nothing, no gamification, nothing without the blockchain technology. It was amazing. I'm really honored and proud of you, Dr. Kapana. Great, great.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you
Thank you.
very much. And I want to say that our great Dr. Kalpana is on our research center and she's doing so great work for IIU with us. And as I said, globally, a big clap.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much. Thank you, Professor Nada. Thank you, Peace Foundation. And thank you all the team of IIU. Thank you very much.
A big smile, Dr. Kalpana, please.
Yes.
Yes, I want to take a great photo of you, and I'm doing that. Thank you. But now, Dr. Kalpana, after you is coming also an amazing science, an amazing researcher, educator. Let us see who is our next expert. Who is our next expert? He is coming from India. He is great Dr. Souvik Ganguly. She has completed his PhD in the area of system identification and control from Tapar Institute of Engineering and Technology. He did his MTech in Mechatronics Engineering from the National Institute of Technical Teachers Training and Research and BTech in Electrical Engineering from Kalyani University, West Bengal. He is associated with Typer Institute of Engineering and Technology as an assistant professor since June 2009 with 15 years of experience in academics. Before he joined the academics, he has served the industry for more than 2 years and organized several workshops, expert lectures for students. He has also worked as a session chair, keynote speaker, conference organizer, reviewer in top IEE, Elsevier, and Springer journals, publishing Scopus, science journal papers, nearly 50 scopus, index papers, book chapters, conference papers. He is not stopping and has 17 patents. And I know that I can talk also about our great Dr. Sovic whole day. He is now serving as a president of Eureka Prize Problem, a student society in Tupper Institute, vice president of Institution of Engineers India. So many student chapters, and he has now two of his students are now pursuing the PhD under his able guidance. Today, Dr. Sowick will enlighten us with the topic, the five big problems with blockchain. Welcome, Dr. Sowick. Enlighten us.
Good evening, Nada ma'am. Once again, welcome back to the IIU research platform, and very good evening to the dignitaries out here in the Zoom platform, as well as good evening to the participants as well. Let us move on ahead with my presentation on blockchain. So I think my screen is visible.
Yes, okay. Yes,
Okay.
great, Dr. Sowick. Yes.
So I'll be talking on blockchain and some of the technology related aspects which blockchain can bring about, or some problems mostly. Blockchain is basically your digital ledger that allows you to transact, to secure transparent and decentralized transactions. And further, it is creating a database that contains some records of transactions or any digital events that are shared or replicated across a computer of networks. So each block is a chain basically containing a set of transactions and a unique identifier, which we call as a hash. Basically, once a block is being added to the chain, it cannot be altered without also altering the subsequent blocks in the chain. So this makes the blockchain even tamper-proof and also secure. So of course, this decentralized nature of the blockchain means that there is no need of a central authority to manage the transactions, which can help reduce the cost and increase transparency. And there are several potential applications beyond, because mostly people talk about blockchain and people talk about cryptocurrency or bitcoins or something of that sort, but it can uh, enter into supply chain management. It can just, as Dr. Kalpana has already pointed out, that it can be used in education system as well, and in voting system, and also in any digital identity verification as well. So these are the potential applications in which blockchain have been. We had been hearing terms about blockchain, the different technologies, digitizations, and application of machine learning, cryptocurrency, and all those stuffs. So I'll move into a different flavor, that what can be our potential threats with respect to the blockchain technology. So first of all, we talk about sustainability development, we talk about environmental, climate change, and all those stuffs are coming up. So what environmental effect has been with the adoption of blockchain technology? So basically, these are the concerns. I'll not say that I'm against technology. I'm not saying that I'm totally coming from a background that will not indulge in cryptocurrency or something of that sort, supply chain management or FMCG, wherever the blockchains are being applied. But we have to be cautious about some of the major problems which blockchain can lead to. So if we are talking about blockchain, and if we are requiring some computational facilities, what blockchain is, or what Bitcoin will result in, as has been claimed by the computing power that is being required to run the network, or some consumers, they are consuming almost the energy consumption of almost 159 countries. So it's a huge amount of energy consumption for which we are calling it. It's a huge expense to have blockchain technology, or why we are resisting for the blockchain technology. So small level, of course, you can go for the small level part, and we can have the deployment being done internally to securely monitor and record any activity. So it will be only a fraction which will be, so it's for not for a small business to harm, but of course when we are going for large scale operations, so this amount of energy consumption cannot be avoided. So this is one of the concern areas, that why we are calling it, it will increase the environmental cost. And of course, it's an important consideration, and also some environmental implications for the we cannot ignore the environmental costs or energy costs associated with blockchain technology. Just a small example of Bitcoin, which we have just now told you about the risk that is associated with when we are having a bigger network, the huge amount of energy it consumes to run that particular network. Apart from that, of course, there is lack of regulation as of yet. In fact, the government of India has not at all approved the use of transaction through Bitcoin or cryptocurrency. Is not an approved form of transaction that we are supposed to have being registered by the Reserve Bank of India. So of course, there involves, this indulges some risk in the environment. So we are fearing of missing out something. So it is at the risk of the persons who are doing trading in Bitcoin, or who are operating through cryptocurrency. So these are not legalized in India. So of course, when it is not legalized, there are some chances of missing out something, or getting trapped into something. Scammers will definitely be getting indulged in it. So all nonsense activities leading to these sort of risks, or I think these sort of things can happen when it's not approved by the government. So of course there is complexity. So of course your end users will definitely not appreciate it, or find it difficult to operate. So complexity is another important issue which the blockchain operators, or the persons who are developing the technology have to make it user friendly. Say if you are doing internet banking these days, and if you are transacting, and all of a sudden we face trouble in transacting online, so of course it will be difficult for us. So of course the end users must be must be convenient with the platform that we use, and do not find it hard to appreciate its benefits. So of course it's a complicated affair to use a blockchain technology. So it takes a while, a good bit of reading, of course, and uh, definitely which makes you potentially useful. So we have to understand, each and every citizen of our country has to understand the effect, has to understand a little bit about the technology behind, and how we can operate with blockchain. So of course it has to be user friendly. So those who are working on the technological side must be facing this consequence, that people are not considering it very warmly, these sort of technological changes that are often not convenient. So there is also a chance of, when we are talking about some risk factors, so often we talk about some middleman being interfering, and of course when we are transacting through blockchain and Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, all those stuffs, making clear payments, and there is a chance of definitely some fraud activities. So the middleman out here is our bank. So of course, the fraud prevention, clearing of payments, these has to be provided through the banks. So they has to be done at an apparently lower cost. So making it convenient to the end user as well. So this is another point that I needed to highlight. Apart from that, sometimes it may seem that your use of blockchain technology can be slow, can be cumbersome as well. So it is not a conventional payment system like that we do in cash or debit cards or through Paytm or something of that sort. But it is due to the complexity, due to this encryption activities, the distributed nature, they can take some time to operate. So it is not a traditional payment of operating through debit cards or credit cards. So definitely the use of blockchain will definitely be slightly slower and slightly cumbersome to the layman. Of course, Bitcoin transactions, they take several hours to finalize, and there are some problems associated, and you'll be able to use them uh, or when we are talking about, say, we are spending a leisurely time, we are having a cup of coffee or in our lunch hour, the vendor is willing to take an element of risk or something of that sort. So definitely it's a matter of concern that if it can be slow at times, uh, we are not having immediate end results. So of course the end users may get distracted, and of course it needs a huge amount of establishment, and due to which we say that some uh, adoption or establishment cost or something complexity, summing up these sort of things can be behind. I'm not saying that I'm against blockchain technology, but these are some of the problems that we are facing these days, or will be facing in future, of course, when the blockchain technology will be in absolute force. So of course it's a good thing that it has plenty of benefits, but once we start using it and once we start developing the technology, of course we have to keep in mind these certain problems which the end users can face, which the middleman can extract out some benefit, some fraudulent uh, transactions can take place, or some fraud. Of course the chance of a fraud transaction can be prevented anyhow, but of course if it's a slow transaction, if it's a cumbersome work, so of course the huge amount of population that we have in India can't be ready to accept this particular technology. So of course the banks can make huge profits by playing the role of a middleman, but if the cost is distributed amongst several customers, end users of course will pay little individually. So the amount of profit that is being associated, or who is making the profit finally, that is also an important concern as well. Thank you. Over to you, ma'am, for any questions or queries or your other things.
Thank you. Thank you, great Dr. Solvik. Thank you. Thank you for a wonderful speech, presentation, explanation about the big five problems with the blockchain. You started with blockchain has an environment cost, talking about the bitcoins, the smaller scale of blockchains, and how it is important for environment implications. Also, how complex it means to use the benefits, how take the reading. Blockchain can be slow and cumbersome, as you say. Bitcoin transactions can take several hours, but they are reality. Despite that, we have a huge interest of the blockchain technology, and even we didn't want it. It is here today, and you say probably it will be better if we just quietly disappeared with it. Dr. Sovic, thank you. Thank you so much. Because you make it really great. You have a great explanation, like always. Today
Thank you so much, ma'am.
our only gentleman with beautiful ladies, and yes, Dr. Sovic, almost like Brazil. Brazil is his famous country. Dr. Stoic, I hope you will go soon and Brazil will be the first place in the football also, and your interest, because Dr. Stoic is a science, has so many different interests, as he show us, and he is very multidisciplinary and working a lot. Today, we come to the end of that day 3. What to say? All our great, eminent experts were amazing. They have great topics. We really learn a lot because IIU is for sharing the knowledge. Tomorrow we have the 4th day, the last day, also very important. I want to thank to our great founder for giving us this opportunity here with me on Zoom, also for the big support of our IIU Head of Europe, Dr. Inga Karchilava, our great Vice Chancellor, Professor Charles, who had today in a brilliant conference in the early morning. Very important. And I will say that we are on the way to achieve the 4 goals of 2030. We are working for the healthy and stable population. We are working for the world-class education and training, for the protection, social protection, transformational culture, for everything. I want to thank to you, lovely audience, for being with us the first 2 days and today. I hope tomorrow you will also join us on the last day. So, till tomorrow, keep reflecting, learning, collaborating, enjoying, being nice to yourself and to all around you. Dr. Inga, would you want to say something for the end, please?
Yes, dear, of course. First time, congratulations to all again. Well done. Today also rock. We had, 2 important days. Oh my God. Today's 3 day. Thank you. These 3 days were actually a calibration of knowledge sharing. Thank you so much. I would like to thank you all the speakers very much for sharing the knowledge, very important knowledge, very excellent and wonderful presentation with you today. Thank you. Special thanks to the organizers. Thank you so much, dear. My sister, Professor Dr. Nada. You are so, I don't know, I have not, you are a very great person. Thank you so much. You work so much for society. Thank you. Thank you, of course, IIU team, Mr. Piyush Pandit, and all participate. Congratulations again. Great. I want to
Thank you.
tomorrow also.
Professor Charles, we don't see you. Where are you, Professor Charles? Few words for our audience, for us, for our eminent great speakers. Professor Charles. Today, we have so many network problems.
Yes.
Yes. Dr. Kalpana, what you say? Great speech, great presentation. Please unmute yourself.
As always, she's great also, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it was really amazing. Everyone was eminent in their field. That was really a good contribution to this international conference, because when we listen so many learned speakers, we can learn a lot of things. So this is a very good achievement of all the participants, those who are directly or indirectly involved in this blockchain summit. Thank you so much.
Dr. Solvik, please.
Yes, ma'am. Once again, I had been listening through my mobile network, and I had been associated with IIU Research Center for quite a long time now. And it has been a very good journey that you have posed the right topic or chose the right topic for a conference to be held on blockchain, because we had been talking, we had been discussing, we had been using some way or the other associated with education or use of AI and ML. We are done with, of course. And of course, blockchain is another important aspect that we can definitely enlighten upon. And it's a
Dr.
good time.
Solvik, Dr.
Yeah.
Solvik, I'm waiting you for our another technology summit. Dr. Solvik,
Okay.
we make a great summit. We work a lot together. I'm waiting you for a new summit. Dr. Kalpana
Okay.
also think about it.
Let me come out. Yeah.
I
Maybe
know
in
Dr.
March we
Solvik
can.
don't have time for briefing because in the morning working, in meantime, somewhere now here after me, he will be also somewhere. So we cannot catch him. And also, as I said, he loves football. Football is his love, big love.
Yeah, I'm
Thank
waiting to join my second session. Yeah.
Yes, I know. I know that you will join a second session now. Thank you. Thank you, lovely audience. Thanks to our organizer, Dr. Snikta. He had also problems. Thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Till tomorrow, stay safe and stay healthy. Bye. Bye-bye to all. Bye.
Bye.
Well,
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much.
Bye.
thank you so much.
Bye.